The Cow Palace has long been home to rodeos, expos, and live events, but now it's being eyed for a new purpose as a solution to one of San Francisco's biggest challenges, homelessness. Our media partner at the SF Standard is out with a new article about a proposal to turn the Cow Palace into an RV and tiny home village for unsheltered people. As they report, the idea has some major hurdles. Joining us live now is Garrett Leahy, a reporter for the Standard. Garrett, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so give us a little history of the Cow Palace. It's been around a long time.
Yes, it has. It's been around for decades, and it's been the longtime home of a livestock expo and rodeo show, as well as things like concerts and other live events, as you mentioned. It's a pretty massive site. I believe it's around 68 acres, 15 of which are parking lots around the venue, and it resides actually in Daly City. So just outside of San Francisco.
So if it's in Daly City, why are San Francisco supervisors kind of deciding what to do with it?
So I actually I've spoken with both Supervisor Engardio, who I was originally alerted to this idea when I saw his June 4th blog writing about his support for that idea, and also Supervisor Safai, who Engardio later told me is the first person to kind of have this idea, at least in San Francisco. And then I've also spoken with the local supervisor who represents that area in Daly City. And originally, the San Mateo County supervisor was not aware that this idea had hatched among San Francisco supervisors, but he's since been contacted and says that he is open to exploring the idea. There's nothing super firm or in place. It sort of just remains an idea. But Safai, who I spoke to today, and as I mentioned, was kind of the first San Francisco supervisor to suggest using the Cow Palace as a site for RV parking and tiny homes, said that they just have a lot of space down there that we don't necessarily have here in San Francisco. Like I mentioned, the site is 68 acres, 15 of which are parking. And so they are interested in approaching Cow Palace and approaching San Mateo County officials to explore having this site developed with tiny homes and RV parking to address San Francisco's housing crisis.
All right, can you flesh out their ideas a little bit more here? Like how many tiny homes are they talking about? How many RVs? Who would be eligible? Are there any concerns?
Yeah, so I actually asked for more details on the number of RVs that people would be seeking to park there, the number of tiny homes that can be installed potentially, and I was met with, again, being told that the idea is basically preliminary. David Canepa, who's the supervisor in that area, mentioned to me, he's not aware of any real, funding that's already earmarked for it. I know there's a multi-million, a bond measure of a couple $100 million. Of which Safai has expressed interest in trying to tap some of that funding, around $50 million, to expand tiny homes across San Francisco and potentially into Cow Palace, should that approval from San Mateo County and any state partners, because the state owns the site, should that permission be granted. And this comes as Governor Newsom has expressed support for the tiny homes model across California to address homelessness all over the state.
And that is something San Francisco is having a hard time addressing right now, right? Can you talk a little bit about their efforts to clear out encampments and what's barring them from doing that, and whether this fits into that picture?
Yeah, so what this actually comes as San Francisco is the city attorney is working to appeal a court order that was handed down by a judge back in December. And what the court order says, and how the city is interpreting the court order, is that San Francisco can't actually do encampment sweeps. They can't, clear out in tents unless they're, blocking the public right of way, so long as the number of housed people in the city is larger than the number of available shelter beds. And so when Engardio wrote his blog June 4th, he was saying that this would be, a way to address the homeless crisis directly,
right,
and also try to comply with the court order by having more available shelter beds.
All right.
Because once there are enough shelter beds, then the city would be able to resume doing encampment sweeps, even with the court order still in effect.
Garrett, thank you so much. I hope folks will check out your article at sfstandard.com. We'll take a short break and be right back.